welcome to my channel. My name is Venus, and today I want to talk about the 25 books that I am prioritizing in 2025 from my physical TBR. I finally took the time to inventory all of the books that are on my shelves. I have 428 books, and out of those books, 200 of them are not read. So I am happy and proud of myself that I have read more than half of the books on my shelves, but I still have a long way to go. And I really wanted to prioritize that this year because we are moving in June. So if I can unhaul quite a few books, which I already have, that I either don't like or just can't get into or don't plan on reading, I want to do that sooner than later. So I figured I would share these books with you. Some of them have been on my shelves for quite a few years. I just had my 3-year booktube anniversary, and that's when I really started kind of filling my bookshelves. So some of these have been sitting on my shelves for more than 3 years, and it's time to either read them or unhaul them. So let's get into the 25 books that I really want to prioritize this year. First book is Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. I don't have the physical copy because I already tried to read it, DNFed it, and sold it, thankfully, very quickly. Yeah, I could not get into that book. That is a literary fiction book. I was told that the audiobook was amazing because it's narrated by Meryl Streep, and I did get a copy from Libby and try to read it, and it didn't go well. I was extremely bored. It's about a woman who is telling, I guess, her life experience with, I think it was a movie star, to her 2 daughters, and I just couldn't get into it. I didn't care. So I've already DNF'd that. So we didn't start off too good. But yeah, so that's one that's already gone. Another one that I DNF'd as well is Blood and Honey, and this is by Shelby Mahurin. The first book was Serpent and Dove, and this is a fantasy. I think it's young adult. I can't remember. But I read the first book quite a while ago, a couple years ago, right when it came out. I liked it. It was about a witch and a witch hunter that end up getting married, and a whole bunch of crazy stuff happens. But the problem was I waited too long to read the second book, and there was no way I was rereading the first one because I only gave it 3 stars. And the ratings for this, once I got into it and realized I really wasn't having a good time, aren't that great. So I figured just let it go. So another book I already DNF'd. Next book is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and I actually just finished this book a few days ago, and I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. This is a thriller book about a man who is a journalist who lives in a Paris apartment, and it has a whole bunch of very odd people living in these apartments. And you unravel, he goes missing, when it starts off, the main point of view. He goes missing, and then his daughter, Jesus, his sister or half sister was planned to come stay with him, and when she gets there, she can't find him. So she starts investigating, what could have possibly happened. She's talking to all the people that live in these apartments, and it took a turn that I was not expecting. It was very entertaining. I really enjoyed it. So this one gets to stay on my bookshelf. The rest of these, as we go through, I have not started yet. Next up is Cinder, and this is by Marissa Meyer. So obviously the rest that I'm going to talk about, I don't know that much about, but I know this is a fantasy retelling of Cinderella. This is a series, I believe, the Lunar Chronicle series. Yeah, Lunar Chronicles. This one I just got from Libby. I kind of started it a little bit. It is, from what I understand, the main character seems to be some kind of robot or something. I guess this is set in the future. It was entertaining. I was enjoying it, but I wasn't in the mood for it. So I am going to come back to this obviously at some point, but I think I'm kind of excited to read this. This is one of the ones that have definitely been on my shelf for quite a while, and it's time to either read it or unhaul it because I also have 2 of the other books in this series. Next up is episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. This is a multimedia horror, and I heard a lot of great things about it. Heard the audiobook is very good, so I have requested it from Libby, hoping to get it at some point this year, and I'm excited to read this one. It looks like a lot of interviews and journal entries and newspaper text messages. There's all kinds of things going on in this, so I'm excited. I'm actually excited to finally get to this one. And then we have A Little Life by Hanye Yanagihara. I'm so sorry I butchered that. This one, of course, I feel like everyone knows. I've seen this cover. This is just a severely depressing book from what I understand. It's going to make me cry, and I've been putting it off because I haven't felt like crying, but this is the year that I need to get to this book. Another one that's been on my shelf forever. This one, The Warlord by Gina Showalter. It was just a random book that I picked up from Barnes and Noble one day. I have no idea what it's about. I think it's a paranormal romance. I don't know. I just picked it up. What is this about? I don't freaking know. It says for centuries, Talia Skyhawk has prepared to become Harpy General, leader of the deadliest female army in existence. One of the requirements, remain a virgin. But for a chance to save her people, she must wed the fearless leader of the Astra Planeta, I don't know, Alaric Pan. I don't even know how to pronounce these words. The time has come for Rock to sacrifice another virgin bride to his god. There has never been a woman alluring enough to tempt him from this path. I am reading this and I'm not getting good vibes from this. I'm already cringing a little bit. I don't know why I picked this up. This was definitely a spur of the moment buy. We'll see. We're gonna try it and find out how this goes. Next, we have Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco, and I really, really love this book and the edges. I'm hoping that I like it. I've heard mixed reviews about it. I believe this is I don't know if it's young adult or adult fantasy, might be romantasy, probably is romantasy. It says, whatever you do, you must never speak to the wicked. If you see them, hide. Once you've caught a demon prince's attention, he'll stop at nothing to claim you. They are midnight creatures, born of darkness and moonlight, and they seek only to destroy. That sounds entertaining. I do like a good demon romance, so I'm really hoping that I like this. Next, we have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, very popular duology. I have obviously not read it. I do like Leigh Bardugo's writing. I've read I've read The Ninth House, Hellbent. I did try to read the series that this is a spin-off of, Shadow Bone something. I don't remember. The Shadow and Bone trilogy, and I DNFed it because I couldn't get into it, but I heard that this is much better. So we'll see, because I have both of these on my shelves. The second book is Crooked Kingdom, so hoping I like this. I don't remember if I said, but this is fantasy. Pretty sure it's young adult. Another young adult fantasy is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This one had such a cool premise. I have heard wonderful things about this. I believe they are reapers, like reapers in training, because the world is overpopulated. It says a world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all those things and has even conquered death. Now scythes are the only ones who can end life, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. That sounds like such a cool premise. I'm actually really, really excited to read this. Of course, I have the whole trilogy on my bookshelf, so hoping that I do enjoy it. Next, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, author of The Starless Sea. I have not read that. I don't know what this is. I think it's fantasy. I just remember seeing it all over the place. Everyone loved it. And back then I was just buying things because BookTube said so. I'm much more pickier now, thankfully, but I hope that I enjoy this. I don't know anything about it. The circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it. It is simply there when yesterday it was not. Within the black and white striped canvas tents is an utterly unique experience full of breathtaking amazements. It is called Le Cirque des Rêves. I'm sure I said that wrong. And it is only open at night. And then it goes from there. I don't know. We'll see. Then we have The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I'm sure I'm going to love this. I've really enjoyed her writing. I think I've only read one book by her, The Women. But I really enjoyed it. I hear great things about her. If it's anything like The Women, it's usually historical fiction, then I know I'm going to love it. But her books will make you cry from what I understand. This one, Book of the Year for 2021. I guess for Book of the Month. I am very much looking forward to this. Another one, though, that I have to definitely not going to read this with the little life. Or maybe I will do a vlog about all the books that make me cry. Who knows? Another young adult fantasy series that I have on my shelves, the entire series, is An Ember in the Ashes. I don't know what the series is called. I don't know what the series is called. It might be Ember in the Ashes, but this is the first book. Does this have like some kind of Roman inspired? Let me see. Under the Marshall Empire, defiance is met with death. Leia and her family do not challenge the Empire. They've seen what happens to those who do. But when Leia's brother is arrested for treason, she is forced to make a decision. In exchange for help from rebels who promise to rescue her brother, she will risk her life to spy for them. Ooh, I like that. To spy for them from within the Empire's greatest military academy. So this sounds very good. I have heard wonderful things about it. I've just been putting it off, but it is time to finally get to this. Then we have another literary fiction book, Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano, Oprah's book club from 2023. I saw this book all over the place, so I decided to give it a try. I'm hoping I love it. There are very specific types of literary fiction that I like, and sometimes I don't like some that are very popular because they're boring to me, but I have no clue what this is about. Let's see. William Waters grew up in a house silenced by tragedy where his parents could hardly bear to look at him, much less love him. So when he meets the spirited and ambitious Julia in his freshman year of college, it's as if the world has lit up around him. With Julia comes her family, as she and her three sisters are inseparable. Sylvie, the family's dreamer, is happiest with her nose in a book. Cecilia is a free-spirited artist, and Emmeline patiently takes care of them all. With the Padavanos, I guess that's her last name, William experiences a newfound contentment. Every moment in their house is filled with loving chaos. But then darkness from William's past surfaces and jeopardizes his relationship with Julia. So that sounds kind of juicy. We'll see how it goes. Next, we have Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. I am very excited to read this. This is an adult fantasy, and I think I'm going to love this. I know it has humor in it. It's, from what I understand, a group of, I don't know if they were mercenaries, a crew of mercenaries, and I think they're old, and yeah, their glory days long past. The mercs have grown apart and grown old, fat, drunk, or a combination of the three. Then an ex-bandmate turns up at Clay's door with a plea for help, the kind of mission that only the very brave or the very stupid would sign up for. That sounds great. I don't know why I've been putting this book off. I have both of them. I think it's a duology, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I'm excited about this. These next two have been on my Old School April TBR for the last 2 years. If you don't know, Old School April, huge readathon in April that I get to co-host again this year. So I'll probably put these two on my TBR again, but the first one is Nobody's Angel by Jack Clark. I mean, it's super short. I should be able to get through this pretty quickly. I remember this being about a cab driver. It says Eddie Miles is one of a dying breed, a Wind City hack, a hack is like a cab driver, who knows every street and back alley of his beloved city and takes its recent descent into violence personally. But what can one driver do about a killer targeting streetwalkers or another terrorizing cabbies? Precious little until the night he witnesses one of them in action. This sounds fantastic. I don't know why I keep putting it off. I think it even takes place in the 80s or 90s. Yeah, so I'm excited. 1993. So I can't wait to read this. It's time. I'm glad I'm structuring things so that I finally get to books that I'm actually looking forward to reading. Next book, definitely probably going to put on my Old School April TBR, is The Amulet by Michael McDowell. This is a horror book. I'm assuming this amulet is possessed or something. I don't know. I'm actually not going to go into what it's about. I'm going to go into it blind. This was written in 1979. Nice, nice. So can't wait to get to this one. Now we have a fantasy book that is always recommended as people's favorite, is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I have also Wind and Fear. Oh God, screw that up. The Wise Man's Fear on my bookshelf. So it is time. It is time to read this well-loved fantasy book. I know nothing. I just know it's told from the point of view of Kavoth, and I believe he's telling his life story. And I'm excited. I'm excited to finally get to this and hopefully name it as one of my favorites as well. Then we have In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I have actually read a couple of her other books that have came out after this one. and for some reason have just never made it back around to finally reading this. This, from what I understand, is most people's favorite book by her. So I think it's about, excuse me, a serial killer, which I love. I don't know anything else about it. This college friends, college roommates, college reunion, one unsolved murder. Is it about a serial killer? Okay, it looks like one of the six friends were murdered. I guess there's going to be a timeline 10 years later, 10 years from when this one of the friends were killed. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I did not like one of the Ashley Winstead books that I read, and then I liked the other one. So we'll see if this makes her an auto-buy author for me. Then we have A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This is book one of the All Souls trilogy. This is a show now. Heard many, many great things about it. It's about a witch and a vampire. From what I understand, they fall in love. So it's like paranormal romance. And I, with, on the surface, this sounds like something that I would absolutely adore. So we will see. This is looks pretty, dense. Yeah, so I have to love the characters to keep me going. This is almost 600 pages, so really hoping I like this. Then we have another vampire book called The Beautiful. I think this is a duology because I have the second book on my shelf. I think I just bought this because it's about vampires. It says I don't even know if this is adult or young adult. In 1872 New Orleans, I love that setting, is a city ruled by the dead, but to 17-year-old, oh, this must be young adult, Celine Rousseau, New Orleans is a safe haven after she's forced to flee her life as a dressmaker in Paris. Taken in by the sisters of the Ursuline convent in the middle of the carnival season, Celine is quickly enraptured by the vibrant city, from its music to its fancy soirees and even its danger. She becomes embroiled in the city's glitzy underworld known as Le Coeur des Lions, after catching the eye of the group's enigmatic leader, Sebastian Saint Germain. And it goes from there. Oh, it sounds good. It sounds good. It has a cool map of New Orleans, French Quarter. That's pretty cool. Sounds good. It's time to finally get to this and see if I like it. Then we have The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. Heard a lot of mixed things about this. Some people absolutely loved it. Some people not so much. I hear it is kind of weird and goes a little crazy. I don't know. It's a thriller. That's all I know. I think it's about a group of writers that get together in a snowstorm or on a writing retreat and crazy things happen. I don't think I want to know any more than that. So I am looking forward to reading this. I probably should read this soon since it takes place in the winter. Then we have another thriller, Dark Corners by Megan Golden. I read The Night Swim. Yes, The Night Swim by her that I did like. And this one is is a follow-up. We're following the same main character. I can't remember if she was a podcaster or what was she? What was she? Was she in the FBI? Yeah, Rachel Crawl, the true crime podcaster, star of Megan Golden's acclaimed The Night Swim, returns to search for a popular influencer who disappears after visiting a suspected serial killer. That sounds good. Like I said, really liked the first one. I liked the main character from The Night Swim, and looking forward to finally getting to this one. The last two are both by Brandon Sanderson. I've been purging my shelves of Brandon Sanderson books because I realized I went on this whole tangent in my wrap up, I think it was my December wrap up, about how I DNF the Stormlight Archives series because I just couldn't get into it, and I also didn't like the Mistborn series. After the first book, I sold those really quickly. People, love Brandon Sanderson, so I didn't have a problem unhauling those books. So I'm kind of making my way through the other books that I have by him to see if he's just an author that I'm just not in love with like everyone else. So the first one is going to be Cytonic. This is part of the Skyward series, young adult, like space sci-fi series that I have overall really enjoyed. So it's time to jump back in. I don't know if I'm going to remember anything, and I'm definitely not going to reread them. So I'm hoping I can find a really good summary of the first two books. There was also, I remember putting off reading this because he put out like a short story collection that you're supposed to read in between, and I just don't feel like it. I have it on my shelves. I just don't feel like reading it. I just want to jump into the story. So if you've read this series and you feel like I really need to read the short story collection, please let me know. Or can I just jump into Cytonic? Because otherwise it's never going to get read because I'm probably not going to read the short story collection. But yeah, so we'll see. And then lastly is Trust in the Emerald Sea. I've heard wonderful things about this. This is a fantasy, like very fairy tale-ish, whimsical, and I have a feeling I'm probably gonna like this. I hope I do because I got this really cool edition I would love to keep on my bookshelves. So we'll see. We will see. I am hoping to get to this probably sooner rather than later. It's chunky. Oh, this has colored illustrations in it too. Wow. So it's not actually that chunky. Yeah, I hope I love this. Hope I love this. This is awesome. Yeah. So we will see. So those are the 25 books that I'm trying to prioritize in 2025. Obviously, there's more than that because there's over or 200 books that I haven't read yet. So but you got to just go a little bit at a time, try to tackle it. I'm very excited. I try to pick some of the older books or books that I've literally been purposely putting off because of, they're going to make me cry or haven't really been jiving with the author or just haven't really heard great things about it. So a lot of these are young adult also, because I just, for some reason, just bought all of the young adult highly loved series and bought the entire series. So hopefully I like the first book because that is gonna suck if I have to unhaul them or sell them. So let me know down below. I definitely want to hear your opinions after you've seen all of these books. Let me know which ones do you feel like, Venus, I think you are gonna love this book, this series, whatever. Definitely put that higher up on your list of when you're going to start them. Or yeah, I don't think you're going to love that so much based on videos I've watched by you. I don't think you're going to like this book. So let me know down below. Can't wait to hear from you. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you again soon. See ya.